It's a sign of Aston Villa's decline that when championship contenders are mentioned, their name is always left out, even though Villa are the only club to break Liverpool's monopoly of the title during the last 6 seasons. Well, they've turned to a new man to help restore those successful days, Graham Turner, who was hired during the summer from Shrewsbury Town on a 5-year contract. As yet, Turner has made no additions to the squad he inherited, and the only player not available today was the injured Gary Shaw, who won't in fact be fit until Christmas. It's a vital day for another victim of injury, Gordon Cowans, his first serious match for 15 months since breaking his right leg in 2 places. The visitors, Coventry City, field no fewer than 5 new players. Goalkeeper Steve Grisovic, defenders Kirk Stevens and Brian Kilcline, Martin Joel in midfield, and substitute Kenny Hibbett. They all joined during the summer to make Bobby Gould's total of transfer deals a staggering 38 in just over a year. The familiar face of referee Keith Hackett of Sheffield, who officiated at last week's Charity Shield at Wembley. Well, if Aston Villa could have picked a team to start a new season against, it surely would have been Coventry. Since returning to the First Division 9 years ago, they haven't lost a single league game against them, winning 10 and drawing 8. Coventry City are in a change strip of all yellow, the lighter strip. Aston Villa in their famous claret and blue, and this season they've returned to white shorts. An effective header by Foster. With Walters, McMahon, good clearance by Stevens, with Gibson for Villa. Nice combination with Walters, Gibson again. What a fine movement that was by Aston Villa, and Colin Gibson so close to the first goal of the season. It was Gibson who began that move, and he linked so well with Peter With. When Walters played the ball on a second time, Gibson was in the clear and struck his shot along the ground, but just wide. Withy did well. Bennett is clear of the fullback. He did the right thing, and the deflection, very nearly wrong-footed Mervyn Day. Withy was on the far post, and Bennett tried to pull it back to him, but it struck Gibson, and as Day was going one way, fortunately for Aston Villa, the ball went into the side netting. It could have gone into goal. Bremner clear. Joel. What a fine ball. Ginn. Foster clear. Peak. Bennett is offside, and Foster lying injured. As the ball was played in, the Coventry players complaining. The linesman was ideally placed. Bennett offside, and Foster is injured. Foster fit to resume. Cowans. Williams. This is Bremner. And Mickey Ginn nicked the ball away from him, and the referee, Mr. Hackett, overrules his linesman, who actually gave the throw-in Coventry's way. Foster. Well, Steve Grisovic is something like 6 feet 5 inches tall, and just stood there, flicked that ball over. Any other type of goalkeeper, I think, not as big as him, might have found real problems then, as Foster lifted the ball high, and Grisovic just flicked it over for a corner. And Grisovic, despite a nudge from Peter With, again showing very safe handling. Indeed, the referee has said it was more than a nudge because he's given a free kick. Pierce. And Gibson's got away from Foster. Withy is in the middle, and Bennett is arriving. Withy came off Gibson. Williams. Walters. He against Peak, who looked to be holding him, and indeed that is given. But a moment or two ago, Gibson deceived Foster. As he curled his cross in, there looked to be danger for Aston Villa. They dealt with it well, and the immediate break has given them a free kick. Peter with. Joe. Forward by Pearce. Foster's header. Williams. Offside, Walters. Young Mark Walters is, I would think, in for one of his longer spells in the first team. Gary Shaw was telling me before the match that he doesn't expect to play because of injury until Christmas at least. Foster forward. Peak. Cowans. There's Mortimer. And Gibson. Coventry getting men behind the ball quickly. Cowans. Good skill. Gibson. And the header by Peter with the moment he delivered it, he knew it was going wide. But the build-up instigated by Gordon Cowans again. And the longer the game progresses, the more confident Cowans is looking, and the more his touch is returning. And that's good to see, not only for Aston Villa's sake, but for England. Foul by Kilcline on With again. And we're into the dying seconds of this first half. Cowans. And fitting the Cowans gets the final touch of the half, because it's his ability which has enlivened an otherwise dullish half. Certainly very little by way of scoring opportunities. A couple of good saves by Grisovic, a deflection at the other end which had Mervyn Day wrong-footed for a moment. But basically two teams really just feeling their way into this new season. At half-time, Aston Villa 0, Coventry City 0. So Coventry start the second half attacking the goal to the left, and incidentally they start the season as the bookmakers' favourites to be relegated from the First Division. They've been proving them wrong, would you believe, for 17 years. It's one of the longest unbroken spells of any First Division club. And they start the second half with a corner. Williams tackle on this man Platt now. Good header by Mortimer, but it's gone straight back to Ginn. Joe took that very casually, didn't he? Bit too casually. Failed to find Bennett. Cowans under pressure. The referee's given the free kick to Villa. Foul by Stevens. Once again, badly in need of some goal-mouth action to give the crowd something to enthuse over. Walters, beautiful skill. Peak sticks with him though. Oh, Walters superb. Bremner! Well, we were asking for goal-mouth action and we got it. But we also got some marvellous skill by this young man, Mark Walters. He took the ball down the left. He beat Peak once. Peak stuck to his job. He beat him again, and the cross was perfect. Almost dropped onto the head of Bremner, who nodded it into the corner for a fine goal. Aston Villa 1, Coventry City 0. And the skill of Mark Walters bringing the game to life. Here's Ginn. Foul by Foster. Ginn furious. Walters goes back now to defend. He scored a marvellous goal in Europe last season. He scored some marvellous goals. Remember another one in an FA Cup tie. And he proves, that was at Northampton, he proved here today that he can also create them as well as score them. Cowans, Mortimer. Cowans doing well. Oh, superbly. They took 3 of them to rob him. Oh, Bennett, good skill. Well, what a fine run by Bennett. Evans came in and got the worst of the tackle. And that was a lovely run by Bennett. And there's some really wild challenges going on in the middle of the field, so the referee must be aware of. Here's Ginn. Pearce. Cleared by Mortimer. Ginn. Bennett again. Ginn's cross. Pearce in there. Day takes it safely. And immediately turns defence into attack with the kick. That looked like a foul on Stevens. Play on, says Mr. Hackett. Foul by Stevens, I ought to have said, on Walters. Here's Bremner. Gibson's forward. Well, Gibson's furious with himself. To be fair to him, it looked as though the ball might just have bobbled a little as he was about to hit it. It was certainly a lovely move. When the through ball came to him, he was in a good position, but his angle shot flew wide. And Coventry City are about to make a substitution. Kenny Hibbett, who arrived on a free transfer from Wolves. He played around 500 games for them. Takes the place of Graham Withers. Interesting to see how Coventry change things. That now looks to have pushed forward into Withy's striking position from midfield, with Hibbett slipping into his midfield role. Hibbett. Pearce. Good-looking cross. Bennett. He really ought to have scored. I'm sure he realises that, because the ball came to him in the perfect position. For one moment it looked as though it was nestling in the back of the net. Certainly some of the crowd thought so. But really, the cross was perfectly placed onto his head, and Bennett, in that position, ought to have scored. Walters. Klein did well. It's been a game which has ticked over rather than really come to life, apart from Walters' moment of skill and Bremner's goal. And here comes Bremner again. And if Igricevic hadn't snaked out that huge arm, Bremner might have had another header. Here goes Ginn. Cowans intercepts. Walters hesitated then, obviously trying to ensure he wasn't offside. Kilcline in trouble and brings down Mortimer. And of course, Kilcline was booked early on in this game. It was a very deliberate foul. Mortimer had just got away from him. Kilcline brought him down. Cowan's kick. Gibson forward, but too far. Cowans onto it. That was intelligent. And Igricevic dealt with it well. But the mark of a player whose thinking is one step ahead of the rest. He saw that Igricevic was off his line and immediately tried to place the ball over him. But Igricevic scrambled and made a good save. So the final 60 seconds of this opening league game here at Villa Park. And Villa looking good for a 3-point start, thanks to this man's cross. Walters, the man who scored the goals in the centre again, Bremner. And here he is. Good goalkeeping by Grisovic, who could be well pleased as Bremner crossed that ball. That was a good stop by Grisovic, but he could be called into action again. McMahon, he nearly was. He judged it well. Two or three times in this game, Mark Walters' skills have produced good openings for Aston Villa, including the goal. Foster lets it run. Gibson. Now into injury time. Yeah, that was very nearly a point at which the game boiled over. Gibson getting a little angry. Foster came in, so did McMahon. And that's it then. No one will pretend that it was a great game, but it was a winning start for Aston Villa thanks to Bremner's goal in the 6th minute of the second half, created by Mark Walters. A good start. 3 points for the new manager, Graham Turner. For Coventry City, well, they ended up with 5 new players who all joined them during the summer. Clearly, it's going to take time for them to gel into a team. Aston Villa will want to get better, and Coventry will want to get to know each other better. And so, on this opening day of the season, the final score at Villa Park, Aston Villa 1, Coventry City 0.